Okay, is my mic working, guys? Hello? Or is it doing the crazy thing? I hope it's not. I pray it's not doing the crazy thing. Let me see. Let me know, guys. I really hope it's, audio's titties. Okay, awesome. All right, so let me see. Hi, Meatball. Hi, Tom Cooper. Hi, Jay Snyder. Hi, Annie Kurtz. Hey, Soil Lodge. Hey, Samantha. Yes, the Shades of Doom. Hi, Jandon. Hello. All right. Hi, Don Lambert. Okay, good. No crazy sounds. Thank goodness. All right. So, yeah, we're just going to continue our adventure through this very loaded topic, I suppose. Hi, Fire Pixie, and hello, Vril Donahue. Hello, welcome. I don't know who you are, but I'm so glad you're here. So we are going to run a different Skitso clip, and I just want to point out. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate that. I'm cold, so just to point out, because obviously if you're on Twitter, you know that there are some hostilities going about within this milieu specifically. For anybody that would like to call me a grifter, hi Tim Brown, hearts back to you. My videos aren't monetized, guys, because of my Skitso clips, because the music is copyright, right? And that's fine. I'm not here for the money, so I'm not grifting. And I'm so grateful for the people that buy me coffees or send the super chats or the super thanks, everything. But I don't make any money off of these videos running. That's why you guys don't have ads. And I'm not going to stop making my Skitso clips because they serve a good purpose. It's agitation propaganda, and I really have fun with it. But we're going to use a little bit of a different one because Mr. Michael Carr turns out that he was in Los Angeles going clear before Heber Jench. So we got to circle back to LA for a little bit, yeah? So we'll go ahead and run this, and then we will get started. Really want to see me dead and shit. Motherfuckers really want to see me leaking and shit. I don't give no rolling up that Mary Jane, ain't a damn thing changed, but my motherfucking dollars, big faces be all around me though. What you talking about when you saying my name? Bitch, I came a long way from the fucking underground. It's sip to you, cause I know it's sip to me. Been me drowning in a whole liter of the Hennessy. Coming out the dirt, looking zombie, smoking all the chasing thrills on the road to riches. Don't fuck around and get yourself killed for real. Crack a seal, crack a pill. Crackers love me cause I'm real. Hello white America is blocker with the stainless steel. RP, PAT, I got lots of ghetto dreams, but I probably make it out the trap before they finish me. Pray to God every day, tell him save me from this place. Shit is dark and hell is hot. Have I paid for my mistakes? Niggas probably love me when rigor mortis inside my body. I live like Cardi. Still trying to make it up out the dirt. Counting friends I lost in blue faces until my fingers hurt. Psycho dad and OG Bin Laden gon' help me with my nerve. Bitches plotting all cause I'm popping, but fuck it, let them twerk. Don't forget, we are literally out here fighting demons, y'all. So, and honestly, that song slaps pretty hard too. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Vril Donahue have been following, but quiet. Glad to be here. Well, thank you so much for being here. Hi, Auntie Green. Hi, Ivermectin. Hola. Let me see. I want to make sure. Hey, Bug Dude. And Professor Camel Toe. Is that Professor Camel Toe? Is that how I pronounce that? That's such a cool name. That's very funny. Let me see. Hi, Petite Penguin. Hi, Brad Conley in Utah. You better be careful, young man. I'm very serious. You stay away from those demons out there, even though I know that, it's very beautiful and I would like to go someday. But so what I would like to do specifically is we're just going to kind of walk through what I've been finding. I'm not following a specific guideline. Dana, how do I get a hold of you? Trying to get you on my show. DM me, Tom Cooper. Thank you so much, Lisa Solis. I appreciate you. DM me. I am really bad about my DMs right now, guys. I'm sorry. I've just had a lot going on. I haven't been feeling great, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. And hello, Eric G. So nice of you to join us. So I want to show you guys specifically because I'm going to show you all the publications that me and Virginia, she was able to find Michael Carr in, because I do think that it's a little bit crazy that, it's generally established that Michael Carr was a part of Scientology, right? And I do have to correct something, and I'm going to show you guys where, because his clear number, I read it wrong. It was actually the number listed, I think, before him. I'm going to show you guys, but you guys will see why it's confusing, because I had the same issue with Heber specifically. But Michael Carr went clear before Heber Jensch. And let's not forget that Heber Jensch went clear right around when the Manson murders happened. And I am going to call them the Manson murders. I understand that you know, certain maybe Satanist Nazi, maybe not Satanist Nazi recently made the claim that they are not the Manson murders. Sorry, I'm not going to give weight or value the opinion of someone who says, well, I know these people and I'm friends with these people, so therefore they're trustworthy sources. That's not how these things work. And I don't think that looking through the newspapers or reading through old records is a poor way of doing research. Because, quite frankly, I think it's really bizarre that no one has brought up specifically that Michael Carr was in LA. Michael Carr was in LA. What was he doing in Los Angeles? Seriously, why is nobody talking about that? Because I think that that's like super weird, but it's just my opinion. Didn't the family Children of God founder have a tie to? Well, I don't know if the founder did specifically, but I know that when, hi Tony C, yeah, he's a good man. Yeah. Um, in regards to the Children of God, I remember when it was Heber and they were in court. It was when all the lawsuits were coming against the church for like all the different programs, the school programs, as well as I think Narcanon and Criminon. And Heber specifically was in court, kind of linking arm in arm with the Children of God, saying we need to be allowed to practice our religious rights. You know what I mean? So I don't know about a deeper tie, but it wouldn't surprise me. And hello, P. Thomas. All right, so let me get my PowerPoint pulled up because we're going to go through a few things, but I want to start with the Michael Carr stuff because I do feel like that is important, just mainly also because I want to correct myself because that was my mistake, and that was thanks to the help of Virginia. I cannot overstate that, or whatever, understate it enough. It is what it is, guys. It's a lot of information, and I'm not coming at it using the ultimate evil as like my outline. I'm just not. Hi, Coop Films. All right, so let me get this pulled up here, and away we go. So you're going to see 3 different publications, okay? So on the left side, you're going to see one course that he completed. It's in LA. In the middle, you're going to see his success story. And then I'm going to show you guys on the side where he goes clear. So let me get that rolling. Beautiful. And I'm probably going to slide over. So you guys already know that, but it is what it is. So right here on the left. So this is auditor number 87. And I wanted to make this bigger. That way you guys could see it. So the ASHO, which I guess is the New American Saint Hill organization that's in LA. So the super literates graduated from the new ASHO, I guess you could call it. I'm not really sure. And where are you, Michael? I should have underlined his stupid name. There he is. Oh, hold on. Well, that's about as close as I can get. He's right under Roy Doan and above Devin Cowles. But there he is, okay? Now, right here, if you're on my Twitter, I know you can't zoom in the community section on YouTube, but this is from the Auditor number 110, published in April of 1975. Focus on Success, the Incredible St. Hill Special Briefing Course. And this is from Michael Carr. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that his review of this course sounds like an intelligence asset. And I'm just being honest. This sounds like a spook coming out and saying, my training down at the farm was great. Finishing the briefing course is like growing up. When I think back on how ignorant of the mechanisms and rules of life I was, it surprises me how well I was able to function. Now, of course, my understanding of life, all its aspects, is vastly increased. Training is indispensable to anyone. Yeah? I don't know. It's just weird. It just gives a big spook energy. Whatever. People can think that like I'm stupid and anointed, whatever. So this is, I think this is auditor number 42. I could be wrong. But yeah, there's the Sea Org. They don't look suspicious at all. And down here, so we said that he was number 1406, but he is not. He is number 1405. So the number is before his name, I believe. And then AOLA, which is the Advanced Organization of Los Angeles, but there he is. Yeah? So there he is. So why that's relevant to me. That's extremely relevant to me that Michael Carr was in Los Angeles. And he was in Los Angeles in 75. He went clear in 68. Am I saying that he was there the entire time? No. But I think that that kind of throws a wrench in the timeline of things, in my personal opinion, because it's not up for dispute anymore who was in Los Angeles in 1968. We've already laid a lot of that groundwork, guys. Manson was there. The process was there. We know Jolly was there. And we know that Heber was there. Yeah? So just what was Michael doing? Because it's something interesting to consider. And I'm not going to focus on the angle too much right now, but Virginia and I have been discussing it because Michael was really young, right? But the Church of Scientology recruits people pretty young, like straight up, they do. And, you know, Hubbard was being groomed for intelligence since like, I think the age of like 12, maybe 15. Virginia knows all about that. But, you know, if he's coming in and he's going clear that quickly, well, was he recruited into the Guardian's office? That's a valid question. If he was recruited into the Guardian's office or under the cloak of the Guardian's office, and then was he put into the process? Seriously. I don't think that this is super conspiratorial thinking. I think that these are really valid questions because the process was there. We know that Mary Sue Hubbard and L. Ron Hubbard were well aware of what the process was doing, as well as Charles Manson. Yeah? Who knows? I don't know. I don't have the answer to these questions, but I think that these questions are valid to consider. And I'm sorry, but this is on paper now. So he's there. That's not up for debate anymore. Period. And I'm going to continue to dig into this angle in my downtime, but I'm putting this out there. This is the value, in my opinion, of looking through old records and looking through old newspapers. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's a waste of time or that it makes me an idiot. Hi, Bo Beats. Hello back, sexy lady. Thank you so much. All right, let me see. I don't want to miss anybody. Jandon, you're not that word. I'm not going to say that because I don't know how, Twitter or not Twitter, YouTube is. Sorry, I got Twitter on the brain. Dad jokes are free. David Berg founded Teens for Christ, operating out of Light Club Coffee House. Ooh, that's very interesting, Jay Snyder. That is very interesting, especially if they were like major Jesus peeps at the time. Because who knows? Like, there could be a couple Processians that were already getting into like the whole like Jesus faction. You know what I mean? Let me see. I am very familiar with HB. Do you know where it was? Oh wait, you're talking to somebody else. Sorry guys. Spooky with a clown face, like Club Coffee House. All right, you guys are having conversations. And hi, Pterodactyl. Welcome. The questions are very uncomfortable for some. Yeah, well, here's a question that I would like to posit for everybody. Um, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm really not. But, there's a few ex-Scientologists out here that, specifically say that, like, they've already gone over all of this. Why didn't you guys look in these old auditor magazines? People knew that Michael Carr was a Scientologist. Yeah? Sorry. Why did nobody else bring this up? Are people trying to hide something? Because at this point, it literally feels like people are really trying to hide something about the Carr family. Yeah? And that is my 2 cents. And again, I'm not trying to be a jerk, I'm really not, but, no one's the authority on anything, and I think that us looking at this critically kind of shows that. And I'm not here to prove myself right or prove someone else wrong. All I care about is the truth. But, some people are really hung up on dead authors. It's real easy to run your mouth when the other person's dead. Let me see. It's how legitimate research is conducted, looking at primary source materials such as newspapers. Surprise. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go ask Anton LaVey's former son in law his 2 cents about a bunch of spooked up people because, sorry, humans are humans. They're going to want to protect their own. You know what I mean? Let me see. Yes, Trudy Zeke. Yes, that is the same Michael Carr. That is correct. Soil Lodge. If the process is Scientology Black Ops, this makes sense. I agree, Soil Lodge. Hi, Carl Hassel. Let me see. Who are the Cars? Bo Beats. So the Cars, well, you're going to see because I've got so many fun old newspapers because, people say that, okay, like Maury Terry or Terry Maury, that like he did a bad job. I've only read the book once, so I don't know because I don't particularly remember all of it. I enjoyed the book, I thought it was a good read, and it's done. I finished Murder Under God's Eye. Don't think that the process was necessarily involved anymore in that particularly. It was a good book. I had some questions that I need to dig into, especially their mention of like Father Flanagan and that whole Hollywood angle, because that makes me think of Boys Town, and there was a mention of Boys Town in that book. So I'm gonna come back to that, but I think that that was a great read about what happened to Arliss Perry. And I can't sit here and pretend to know someone who's dead, their intentions of, if they were using her death to manipulate one way or the other. I can't say that. I felt when I read The Ultimate Evil for the first time that he, did a good job in speaking about what happened to her. It was very moving. It made me emotional. But I'm an emotional person about this kind of stuff anyway, I guess. But we're going to look through because you're going to see who the cars are, because there's some people out here who I don't know these people, and a few of them, most of them are dead, and it seems pretty suspicious to me, specifically, especially the lack of specificity about Michael Carr's time in the Church of Scientology. Now, a couple more people popped in. Let me see. Hi, I hope I said hi, Racine. Sorry. Let me see. And Morgana. I understood both Carr brothers were in Scientology. That's interesting, Morgana. I will look into it. I don't know. I don't know that we found anything. I will ask Virginia, and because, she knows how to read through these things and what these courses are, you know what I mean? And her husband, Mike, used to be in the Guardian's office. He was a very high-ranking intelligence officer. So they're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff. Now, I told you guys, we're looking at the bigger picture. We're not going to spend a lot of time. We ended at 75. We're just going to peek at a couple things, and then we're rolling right into it, okay? So just buckle up. It is what it is. This is how we're doing it. because again, I'm not focused on one dead author and what they say, because I just think that that is a diversionary tactic at this point, in my opinion. Okay, so this is very late 60s, very early 70s. Okay, so these are things that are going on. We're not spending a lot of time on it. But this narrative about the whole, we've already read the stuff about the witchcraft. If you guys didn't know, at Harvard, they were skinning dogs alive and allowing them to survive for days and weeks. McGill University in Canada were keeping dogs locked up for the first 8 months of their lives to learn that they did not react normally to pain later on. Okay. And then in Shasta, it looks like, yeah, in Shasta in California, hopefully this, all right, there we go. So people were, decapitating dogs and dumping the bodies in the higher parts of the river, and it was contaminating the drinking water for some of these people. And more dog torturers. So the whole narrative of like, oh, the satanic panic and, the dogs and animals. Okay, whatever. Anyways, next. Now, this is, I think, these are the early 70s as well. We've gone over some of this stuff already. Now, the one thing that I did add that I found kind of fascinating, and someone had commented on one of my Twitter posts about the gentleman that I believe becomes the Carr's lawyer once the Son of Sam stuff starts going on, Louis Ecker. So this was just something interesting. So he was involved in a drug kingpin case, specifically with Emmanuel J. Ordine. And I guess this was something going on at a high school, but this was in Westchester County specifically. When was this? 1972. So it was right before, well, close to. I wouldn't say particularly right before, but just to get an idea of the things that are going on at the time. Now, let's go over to the next one and let's see. Okay, we've already looked at a lot of this, okay? So these are things that are going on all around the country, right? Because they are. This is 1975, baby. This is all 1975, specifically. Yeah? That none of this is natural. None of this is normal causes. So these Satan simping folks, you're lying, and you are lying because it's not true. I think it's really fascinating, and eventually we'll come back to this at some point, but I don't know if you guys noticed to the far right. Let me zoom in. There we go. Yeah, so this was also going on in Colorado. And for the people that know what comes down the line in Colorado later on, I think that that's pretty interesting to consider. However, no, that was not natural. None of it was. And the people that want to sit there and say that it was, just stop. Just stop. Now, what we are going to do here, we are not going to really read through all of this. However, we're going to take a peek at what the process was doing, because Eric G had put me in connection with someone who sent me the most fascinating news article. And so I was able to confirm, and I don't know why it never came up when I was looking through the newspaper archives, and I'm just like, because I tried like all the different spellings and all the different combinations, and it just wouldn't come up. But, they bought this very big estate, the process did. And, well, things get real weird. And I'm going to show you guys the gal who, not that much later, is talking about necromancy in the newspaper. Yeah? So let's take a peek at that, and then I'll look at the chat, because these articles specifically were commented on recently, and you can say that it's not relevant, but I think that it is. So in 1976, this is when I believe it is Christopher Fripp. Let me go with this little one. Yeah, there we go. So Christopher Fripp, aka Father John Alban Abraham. So they bought this 27-acre, 400,000 estate in Pound Ridge, and apparently he had already been living there for the past 3 years, which I think is super, super interesting. And there were, does it say it here? Yeah. So the building inspector said that Fripp recently phoned to ask him about keeping farm animals on the property. And up here specifically, so Miss Blair Lawrence, that's who we're going to be looking at. So she's getting involved with this weird transactional analysis. It's this very strange group therapy, but this is going to get tied back into the late Dr. Louis Joyland Jolly West. But we're not going to go into that right now. Now, what else was going on in 1976? Well, here we have the Molotov cocktail that was thrown through the window of Carr's telephone answering service at 316 Warburton Avenue. Yeah. And, there we go. Okay. It just says, I highlight the things that are interesting to me, guys. Okay. So, no motive for the attack was revealed by the police. That's fine. It's really neither here nor there. And this will also be relevant later in regards to the vandalization of the Foundation Faith headquarters specifically, because there is a very interesting rabbi who has some pretty shady ties, specifically to Jim Jones of the People's Temple. So I'll be coming back to that because that's pretty interesting to me. But let me look at the chat because I see that it is moving and grooving. Okay. I grew up in Vancouver and remember driving up the coast with my family, encountered a strange colony of people in the hills of San Francisco. My parents were so freaked out we left the next morning. Well, Bo Beats, that was probably a good thing. Like straight up. Let me see. And sorry, guys, I just see that this is all moving around super fast. And Weak Car, just so you know, as John's involvement in the occult, I'm not going to deny it. There's no way I can deny it, and I'd be stupid to deny it. I don't know, is that like a direct quote from her, from something else? Santa Cruz is still a freak central, much weirdness going on there. Okay, let me see. Surf City equals Children of God. Let me see. Some profoundly embarrassing things could be revealed about Nicholas Schreck. I knew his first wife, and I know. Oh well. Yeah. Well, I have my opinions about Satan sympathizers, Nazi sympathizers. So sorry. And that's it for right now about the animal stuff, guys. Sorry I didn't give like a warning. I just, I'm trying to get through as much as I can. Let me see. As far as Trudy Zeke, I have no idea. I have no idea who that is. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see. A leather daddy cut his ear off outside of a gay bar when he was dressed like a Nazi. Oh, well, that is a very colorful adventure, isn't it? Okay. Good to know. Thank you so much. Okay, let me see. You guys are just wiling out in my chat. Then what was it? Aliens skinning dogs. That would be crazy, October Rust, if it was aliens, but I don't buy it whatsoever. Natural cause. I just saw one article use that to defend Satanism recently. Yes, Petit Penguin, because there were people still out here saying that it's not real, that occults and rituals and all of this stuff isn't real. There are people still touting this crap to this day, and so I will continue to come on and talk about it because it is real. Now, why are they ramping up these things specifically as of late? I don't really know. I could sit here and get super annoyed about it, right? But I'm not going to. I'm trying to stay, level-headed as best that I can. Let me see. You guys need to stop chatting so I can pay attention to what she's saying. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the chat. I might have to ignore it for a second. And hello, Mordecai. It's so nice to see you. Let me see. Stevie W. Curious minds want to know well, I don't want to know in particular the juicy deets because I'm not here to put out somebody's business in particular like that. You know what I mean? Okay, now that was 76, yeah? So, here we go. Now, people don't have to like this. I don't really care. Okay. I understand that there are some people who are friends with Wheat Car. I don't know her. Okay. Don't particularly want to either. However, I'm just going to show you guys the things that I have found in the newspapers. I'm also going to show you the things that I have found about her mother in particular. Because, quite frankly, I just think that there's something wrong here. I'm not calling anybody a criminal, but I am allowed to sort of look at these things as someone coming in with fresh eyes. Yeah, doesn't mean I'm attacking anybody. Okay, and we're not going to sit here and we're not going to read every single article, but I am going to show you guys how these stories don't really match up. And I don't think that this can be completely blamed on people, reporters being human and they make mistakes, because that argument can swing the other way. Yeah, because memories fade, motives change. So I don't really want to do that dance because I can literally turn that back around. Seriously. Because I'm not going to go ask someone who, in my personal opinion, from these newspapers, their story has changed 20 different times. And why is no one talking about Michael Carr's time in Los Angeles? And then he disappears from the Scientology publications in 1975. And then he's back over here with his family, and then he dies. Oh, and the whole car accidents being used as a method of fair game from the Church of Scientology. Okay. All right. Uh whatever fantasy world you guys would like to live in. Not you guys here specifically. I'm just saying, uh people are allowed to look at these things, and they are. So, this is in 1977. The dates aren't perfect as far as like the months and all of that. However, there is Wheat Car specifically with a bunch of cops, and they are all getting their recognition. Yeah. So what was that? That was 20th. So he was indicted August 15th. Okay. And right here. Cars are quick to defend the role of local police, among the first to rise to the defense of Yonkers police following the filing of a second lawsuit against the department in the Son of Sam case were Sam and Wheat Carr, both of whom figure prominently in the events surrounding the arrest of David Berkowitz, the suspected .44 caliber killer. As far as I'm concerned, the Yonkers Police Department acted in a professional and competent manner, said Sam Carr, a retired City of Yonkers Public Works employee who runs an answering service from his home behind the apartment house in which Berkowitz lived. Blah, 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 blah. Now down here, Wheat Carr, his daughter, is a Yonkers police dispatcher credited with providing a vital link leading to Berkowitz's arrest by turning a telephone inquiry from New York City about a parking ticket Berkowitz received near the last Son of Sam shooting scene over to a Yonkers police who was working on several Yonkers incidents in which Berkowitz was suspect, including the letters to her father. Okay? There we go. Sam principles rise to defense of police force. Yeah? Okay, here we go. The Son of Sam cast an update. So, Mr. Craig Glassman, it says that he has emerged as the big winner. He has parlayed the worldwide exposure given the arrest of the suspected Son of Sam into a soon to be published book. And over here, it is talking about specifically the cars. This is one of the rare presences that we see of Mrs. Frances Carr. She says that we are not interested in making any money. Yeah? Okay. Well, we're going to see that I would argue that that is not true. Let's see if it's here. Yeah, right here. So here's one of many. However, Sam Carr declined to talk to reporters unless they pay for the privilege. This isn't the first that we're going to see that. Now, I'm going to pull up. Let's go ahead. I don't want to focus on the guy in Texas because I am looking at him because his story changed a lot too. I don't really know that it's, here or there, but I'm kind of looking at everybody like, dun dun. If I had like the Law and Order SVU, like dun dun, you're suspect. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I'm looking at everybody because he goes from saying that like Berkowitz was an acquaintance to Berkowitz was his best friend, and I'm like, well, I know for a fact that the Process Church of the Final Judgment was in Texas, so I think that that's super weird, right? I don't really care if he was your best friend or not, but the process was definitely there because I do not care, and I do not care if David Berkowitz said that he did it. I don't care. It is irrelevant to me. I'm sorry. Because when you come in and you look at this and you see the way that all of these things are sort of playing out in the newspapers that people like to call irrelevant, I don't know. Kind of seems like a setup to me, quite frankly. And I don't really think that that's crazy, and I don't think that it has anything to do with the ultimate evil at all. At all. But I'm going to show you guys why. I don't know. This whole thing is just so I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This bothers me so much that this is such a sort of like gatekeeping sort of topic, and that people get so angry if you don't agree with them. And I get it to an extent. I already told you guys, I understand why, Terry Maury like lost his mind. It was a different time. He had access to different information. He's not my hero. I don't agree with everything that he said. And I'm certainly not going to judge someone that can't defend themselves. I'm just not. It's really easy to talk crap about somebody when they're dead. However, I can see why this would become all consuming. But he didn't lie about the process. Sorry, I know the process. I'm not saying I'm an authority, but I mean, I've shown that, I've done the work and I have found who the process is, quite frankly. Let me see what Eric G said. That was Wheat Carr quoting Linda O'Connor. Linda called me up to warn me right after Michael's accident. She says they killed John, they killed Michael. Wheat to Linda. Michael fell asleep. Well, what the hell? What the hell? I don't know. I don't know. This sounds like Scientology fair game to me. The stuff with the cars sounds like some really weird Scientology process, and people want to say that it's real crazy to consider that the cars are involved in intelligence. That's just crazy. Is it really crazy? Because I'm going to show you guys specifically that a couple of these societies that Miss Frances Carr was involved in were literally counterintelligence operations in New York City. Yeah. Oh, and then also Wheat's aunt died in North Dakota the same year as John. And the cause of death on both of their death certificates is redacted. So isn't that kind of weird? Can we just agree that objectively that's kind of bizarre? Because it is. It's kind of bizarre. But, I'm just a hillbilly in the woods, so who cares? Here we go. So, this is, in particular, my favorite right here. So, this is August 18th, 1977. Mystery surrounds whereabouts of the dog. Where is Harvey, the black Labrador? Yeah, the one that was apparently telling David Berkowitz to, whatever the dog said. This is literally how much I don't care what David Berkowitz said. Seriously, don't know what the dog said. But right here, it says, no one is willing to say where he is or why he has been taken. The 64-year-old Carr, who runs a telephone answering service in Yonkers, is still trying to sell his story, and so is unwilling to talk. His attorney, Louis Ecker, who I showed in the beginning. Where are you? There we go. Refused to comment on the whereabouts of the dog. A source close to Carr believes Harvey might have been moved because of the publicity surrounding the dog. It is believed that Carr feared the dog might be kidnapped. At least one person is said to have offered to buy Harvey. Carr said the price wasn't good enough, said the source, whose name was withheld for fear of retribution. This person thought that Harvey might have been taken to a kennel outside of Yonkers, since the Carrs have few friends and no relatives in the area. No local kennels checked reported knowledge of the dog. Harvey is 2 or 3 years old and was given to Carr's daughter Wheat about a year ago. The dog is never out of Carr's sight under usual circumstances and is either tied to the fence on his property or kept in the house. Harvey is wild, even though he received 2 bullets in a hind leg on April 27th from an unknown assailant. Police believe might have been Berkowitz. After spending several days at a local vet hospital, Harvey had one of the 2 bullets removed. The second bullet, if it was removed, would have crippled the dog. Yeah? Sorry, guys, that's just weird. Where the hell is the dog? And you gotta pay to get an answer? Are these people really heroes? Okay, whatever you say. Yeah? And then obviously, all of these people just running around doing the press circuit, shaking each other's hands. Everybody's getting bumped up, everybody's getting awards, and everybody's getting money. Yeah? So I think that's really interesting. And it says right here, so Mr. Carr is still trying to sell his side of the story for a minimum of $10,000. Yeah? And right here, this is August 17th, 1977. He will recount his version of events to a journalist for anywhere between 10 and 20 grand. Yeah? We're prepared to give an interview if the right bargain can be struck. We're talking in excess of 10 grand. Sound like heroes? Doesn't sound like heroes to me. But this is just my opinion, right? And then, apparently here it says that, Sam Carr is a loner, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. And over here, victim's family files a lawsuit. Yeah, so they are just busy, 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 aren't they? But the family, specifically of Stacy Moskowitz, accused the Yonkers PD of not acting quickly enough. They said that they had evidence early as April to suspect that Berkowitz was the son of Sam. And their lawyer, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I still need to look into him. Mr. Lader, he was 25 and had only been practicing law for 7 months, which I do think is kind of interesting. He was taking the case for them, or trying to, but obviously the Yonkers Corporation Counsel, Eugene Fox, dismissed the claim, saying the city of Yonkers absolutely denies responsibility for this unfortunate occurrence. I know of no legal theory under which monetary recovery against the city of Yonkers is probable. And over here, Sam's price, 10 grand. Yet again. And back over here, look at that. Whew. Moving on up. Everybody's moving on up, right? I thought that this was fascinating. It is believed that more promotions were given for this arrest than in any other single case. Yeah, I bet. Sounds like a setup to me. Anyways, and again, right here, because they keep repeating it, so I'm going to keep underlining it or highlighting it, that Carr is still trying to sell his story. And just so you guys know why I have this down here, I am going to be looking into some of the things that were going on prior to, what happened with David Berkowitz, because I think that it's relevant. And that's my opinion. Because quite frankly, the process was in Louisiana. They were also in Texas. It is what it is. You don't have to like it. And I don't really care if you do or not. These are just the facts. I'm looking at the bigger picture. And I'm going to continue to, because I think that it is a healthy, skeptical way to do so. Now, let me peek over here. I'm not going to be able to scroll up all the way. Thank you so much for stopping by, Bo Beats. I appreciate that. BFAS found in several cities here in Texas. Yes, Lisa Solis, they sure are. Let me see. You've gone through the process to find out the process. Yes, I have, Bug Dude. That was very good. I got that. Thank you. Morgana, bingo. Well, I don't know what I bingoed, but thank you for the bingo. And let me see. I believe Linda O'Connor also told Detective Shinati that Wheat was next. His debunking of Program to Kill was just to make fun of Eric and Neo. I don't know who those people are, but I mean, he didn't debunk anything, quite frankly. That's he just completely discredited the rest of that book, but don't worry, we'll be getting to that eventually. Folks who were never in cults have a hard time believing this stuff. I think that that's fair. I look at cults as a way to control people and to harm them and to modify their behavior in a group setting. So I have a big problem with them. Let me see. Leash. I went back to the beginning of this, so I am way behind. No worries, Leash. I'm so glad that you're here. Let me see. I believe the Queen's DA tapes. Yes, name calling is the default strategy. And let me see. Sorry, guys. You guys are having great conversations. Let me see. Well, as far as like DA tapes, things of that nature, sorry. I see it as a form of slavery. I agree, Meatball. Yeah, cults are a form of slavery. Specifically, though, as far as like DA tapes, things like that. Sorry, guys. What's like a good running example of a not a joke, but a very real thing like 9/11 was an inside job. Let's look at something a little bit bigger. Operation Gladio in Italy. They denied that for decades. The Vatican was in on that. That was a straight up domestic terrorism operation. So, am I really going to believe what the cops say? No, I'm sorry. And it doesn't mean that I think that all cops are corrupt. However, why is 1 year, and I'm just asking like a question, literally, why is 1 year technically of crimes got so many people so worked up? Because it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. It doesn't make sense. And I've already completely trashed like the process's narrative. I'm not taking credit for it. I'm just stating an objective fact here. I don't want a pat on the back. I'm not asking anybody for any money. It is what it is. But those people were liars, and they were lying for a reason, and a damn good reason at that. Because now all of a sudden we have Michael Carr in the same place as the process and Manson, specifically in LA, for God knows how long. But then he's going to come back onto the scene here. And then why is nobody talking about the mysterious death of Wheat Carr's aunt, Helen? The same year as John Carr's death, his suicide. Okay, whatever you say. Seriously. It's for y'all that have been studying this for years. God bless you. You got the patience of saints, guys. Seriously. So I thought that this was interesting to observe because I would say that the Carrs had some sort of pull with the press in one way or the other, because this is the exact same newspaper on the exact same day. This isn't the days of the internet, guys. They literally had to reprint the paper. So the first one that came up for me was the one on the left, Yonkers police defended by Sam. And then the one on the right later said the Carrs defend Yonkers police work. All press is good press, right? I don't know. Oh, whoop, there we go. Okay, so right here. And again, kind of the same thing as before. Among the first to rise to the defense of the PD was Sam and Wheat Carr, who figure prominently in the events surrounding the arrest of David Berkowitz. Yeah. Well, okay. And Sam Carr cited the work on the case by Yonkers detectives Michael Lorenzo and Edward Oakley and police officers Peter Intervallo and Thomas Chamberlain, since promoted to detectives, all of whom were honored by New York City after Berkowitz's arrest. It is almost unbelievable the work done by them. Yeah, I bet. And then over here in the sort of tweaking, they include the remaining statement on the front page. Carr says, I know the amount of work these two detectives and two patrolmen put into it. Okay, Sam, whatever you say. Think that's really interesting. Maybe it's nothing. Who knows? Don't know. Don't know. Don't care. Now, we're going to move forward. That's all August, right? So now let's go ahead and let's take a peek at, I think we are completely within September. So, oh man, so Sam Carr's running around saying that he wants 10 G's at a bare minimum, right? To tell his story. Yeah? Okay. So now we're going to take a look at literally the next month because I'm just going to tell you guys right now. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody referenced the DA interview. I was referring to 1979 Queen's DA interviews regarding the son of Sam, which do seem to possibly be doctored in some instances, but they are worth a listen. That's a very fair point, Professor Camel Toe. I hope I'm saying that right because that's how it's spelled. I'm not against listening to it. I'm just not saying that it is the gospel. You know what I mean? I always tell people question authority and question me. This is why I show you guys this stuff. Seriously, question me, but always question authority. No one's the authority on anything. I am obviously biased against the process because they have kind of taken over my life. But it is what it is. Now, I want you guys to consider, because this is where my whatever alarms. Huh? What? Weak Carr? Who the hell is Weak Carr and what the hell is she doing? I told you guys when I read that book that there was something that was sus. I said, what's up with the sister answering the phone? And I couldn't even remember her name. So these heroes are running around demanding money. And the dog is nowhere to be found, and you have to pay to find out where the dog is, right? The price has got to be right. Okay. And now we're going to see specifically that, for some reason, don't know why, letters were received by them that they decided to hold on to for a certain amount of time. I just don't think that that's normal. I'm sorry, I don't. And I don't care if other people think that it is, and I don't care if you believe this woman, because I don't. And I don't. So here we are in September. So we've gone from the narrative of we want $10,000 at a bare minimum. Yeah. To now they're tired of the harassment. Oh my God, what does Wheat have to say? A lot of people seem to believe that we were connected with the killings. Really connected, said Wheat Carr's daughter. People don't seem to know that for months before he was arrested, he had harassed us with letters and anonymous phone calls. And we believe he was the one who threw a Molotov cocktail at our house last October 4th. Why are you guys asking for tens of thousands of dollars for an interview? Ma'am, excuse me. Sorry, don't buy it. Don't buy it. And right here, the new Berkowitz letter. This is from September 20th, 1977. Mailed to Miss Carr's Yonkers home, a letter from David Berkowitz specifically. She said that it was written more than a week ago. Don't really care about the letter. Don't care what it said. Don't care what type of paper or how it was spelled. And do not care. Yeah? Miss Carr, a radio dispatcher for the Yonkers police who... Whoop. Come on, don't do that. There we go. Miss Carr, a radio dispatcher for the Yonkers police who provided information that helped in Berkowitz's arrest, refused to quote from the letter. The matter is under investigation for possible criminal action. We are cooperating with the Yonkers police in every way. Yeah? Okay. Whatever you say. Now, over here, we have more letters. Wheat Carr, daughter of Sam Carr, said she received the letter at her Yonkers home more than a week ago, September 20th, 1977. Yeah? Why did she wait so long to turn it over to the cops? Hmm? Does she just think that she's smarter than everybody else? Because I would highly disagree. And I would highly disagree. And again, these are all just repeating, but anytime I see it, I literally am going to put it in here, yeah? And let's see, Son of Sam left path to harassment. Did it though? Did it? Because it seems like you guys were begging for money for people to take your story, and then you got real pissy when no one wanted to. Yeah? That's what it sounds like to me. But 1977, we have Michael Carr on the scene. So there he is, Michael Carr with Wheat Carr and Sam. Yeah? After weeks of avoiding the media as part of their fight for privacy. So now they're painting it as a fight for privacy. Because Wheat says that shortly after the arrest of Berkowitz, the family lawyer had been instructed to ask for 15 to 20 grand for interviews to discourage the press. Okay, the Carrs said they finally had decided to talk with the Times to clear up what they considered to be a misrepresentation by some of their role in the case. Okay, whatever you say. And here we are again, repeating the same thing again and again and again. Does she really look too stressed right there? Doesn't look like it to me. And again, because these things, in my personal opinion, just cannot be understated. And they can't. I don't know why people are running around calling them heroes. Don't know. Don't know. I could give you my opinion. You probably wouldn't like it. Now, there is something on here that was given to me at the last second specifically, but I do want to show it before we look at the mom. Give me 1 second, guys, because I know that it's in here somewhere. Uno momento, por favor. Let me see. I might have to come back to it because I didn't have time to highlight it. I knew that this was going to throw me off. But maybe I'll just copy and paste the link and drop it in the chat, because this says in here that Mrs. Wheat was the first dispatcher, like the first civilian dispatcher. Yeah, I'll find it, and you know what? I'll drop it, I'll make it pretty, and I will drop it into my community section. That's what I'm going to do. That way you guys can see it for yourself, quite frankly. Now, where should we start? Let's go with the mom. Yeah, let's go with the mom real quick. So, give you guys a little bit of history about the mom, because mom's sus, okay? Mom is super sus. It is what it is. But I think that I don't know, she's giving me major spook energy. Okay, so right here, this is Miss Frances Carr. So she was a corporal in the Marine Corps Women's Reserve and past commander of the Yonkers Women's Post-American Legion. And it says here that she was a commanding officer while stationed at Washington, D.C. Marine Corps headquarters. And some of my followers on Twitter stated that the time frame that this breaks down to doesn't really make sense. It's almost like she was fast-tracked. Yeah. She comes in like a year after this is created, and then she's immediately made a corporal. Okay, whatever you say. Yeah. And let me see. Is this where she says she follows her brothers? No. But Anyways, so she has resided in Yonkers since January of 46. Her husband, Sam Carr, is a member of the Glenwood Post American Legion. And over here, the Herald Statesman, this is the only announcement that I could find of the birth of their daughter. I thought that that was interesting. And this is from 1971, just talking about the answering services, because you guys know that I love these old papers. So, right here, in the answering service business for the past 25 years. So, let's mind the date. This is 1971. So, according to Miss Frances Carr of 316 Warburton Avenue, for the past 25 years in the answering service. She served as a corporal in the Marine Corps during World War II, stationed in D.C. It was there that she met Samuel Carr, a native of Yonkers. After they were married, the Carrs moved here, and Mrs. Carr began her business with 16 customers. 25 years later, she has amassed a clientele of more than 200. It's very interesting. To me. To me. And I do think that this sentence from her is kind of interesting. So often we try to imagine from the customer's voice what he or she looks like, and sometimes if we ever meet, we're usually dead wrong. And I guess they feel the same about me, never having seen me, said Mrs. Carr, who preferred to keep it that way. Yeah, I bet you did. And over here, let me see, what are we missing? I don't think we're missing too much. Anytime that I find her, guys, just so you guys know what you're looking at, I'm posting it in here. This is me compiling my information, compiling it the way that I compile it. Let me make sure I'm not missing one of the many bizarre details that emerged about John. Let me see that John Carr, as a teen, collected photos of dead bodies and had a scrapbook of sorts, not just grisly stuff from newspapers, but autopsy photos. Huh? That's crazy. And I didn't know that. That is, well, I definitely don't need to see that and don't want to see that, but, you know, I guess it is what it is. I don't really know. Because I'm not here doing true crime. I'm not interested in true crime. I have no interest in true crime. But I do want to know what the hell happened. And I didn't realize that the Son of Sam stuff was such a freaking mess. And I'm not acting like I'm coming in here solving anything. I'm just asking questions and putting together the information that I found. Now, we're going to go ahead and we are going to look at John really quick, just because this is the next slide specifically. That way you guys can take a peek, because his death certificate is absolute. Stop it. There we go. Absolutely redacted. John Charles Carr, 31 years old. He was divorced, and this is in Minot, North Dakota. Cause of death. Can't see it. Very weird. Very weird. Don't know why. Don't know why that is, yeah? So I guess this was his spouse, Miss Dorothy Ann Rollison. Yeah. She had some, the higher the hair, the closer to Jesus. You know what I mean? That is some serious hair she's got going on there. That was in 1968. And right here, his announcement as a weapons specialist. He was selected for technical training as an aircraft weapons systems specialist. And I think it's super interesting that he did his basic at Lackland. If you know anything about Jolly West, then you know why that is super sus, and it is super sus. Yeah. Because all of these Air Force bases should be looked at very critically, in my personal opinion. Now, let's just take a peek at Francis's sister. Yeah, that way you guys can see it, since we just looked at John Carr. Sorry, we're bouncing around. It is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. We're just going to run through it. So, right here. So, Miss Helen Joyce Sheed. Yeah? Or Scheid. This is her. So it says here that she was inpatient, which I am presuming that she was in a hospital. It says United Hospital. Yeah? Redacted. Cause of death, redacted. Yeah? There's her husband, William Sheed. December 7th, 1978. Now, up here, I found specifically she had a daughter named Karen. There's no obituary for this woman anywhere that I can find. I did find her wedding announcement to Mr. William Sheed specifically. And over here, that way if, anybody wants to give me grief, this is the, federal census in Minnesota showing specifically Frances and Helen, 'kay? So, this is her sibling. And right here, because her old man was a politician, he, ran under the Independent American Party. And then obviously I include his death announcement because I think it's real weird that someone who was involved in local politics that their spouse just dies and there's no mention of it. And it's the same year that technically her nephew John Carr also died in the same state under very, very strange circumstances. Does that make me a stupid, crazy conspiracy theorist? Well, maybe, I guess. I don't really know. And quite frankly, I don't really care because I think that in my personal opinion, I think that there's something really weird going on here. I think that there's some sort of cover up. I'm not calling anybody a criminal. I am just stating my opinion from the things that I have looked at coming into this at a disadvantage, knowing that there are people way smarter than me that know way more than me. Yeah? Now, let's go ahead and let's talk about Mom real quick, okay? Because specifically, Mom names these two international societies that she's involved in. And well, wouldn't you know it, one of them just straight up in their obituaries later on, one of the gentlemen that's involved in one of these societies, his obituary, because they used to be a little more bold back in the day in the papers, they straight up say that they were running counterintelligence operations in New York City with these telephone services. So, is it such a stretch to think that the car answering service was part of an intelligence operation? Or is that too crazy? Is that too detached from reality? Yeah? Maybe I should stop looking in the newspapers. I don't know. But here we go. Okay, so right here, let's go ahead and take a peek at Mom. So that is Mrs. Samuel Carr right there. She's having a good old time. That is December 15th, 1965. She was a part of the Soroptimist Club, and I haven't quite figured out what that is yet. It seemed like it was quite a thing. However, right here. So, answering service history to be told. This is October 30th, 1965. Now, not going to sit here and go through all of this. I do think it's interesting. It used to be called the S-Car answering service. I will be looking into that more a bit later. But this is talking about Mrs. Francis, yeah? And again, no mention of her sister, a native of Minnesota. Mrs. Carr came to Yonkers by way of the Marine Corps, which she joined following her two brothers. Spending 17 months in D.C., was married, then discharged, and finally settled in her husband's hometown of Yonkers. While caring for their two children, Mrs. Carr's urge to keep in contact with the community prompted bringing a small telephone answering service which was available, she related. Their business has increased until now the concern operated 3 switchboards, employs 22 women, and has over 200 customers, a large portion of whom are professional people and business firms, Ms. Carr added. Her memberships include the Associated Telephone Answering Exchanges and the Administrative Management Society, both international organizations. Now, when you have a semi-decent understanding of intelligence history, you understand how these fronts were running back in the day. Now, I think that this letter from the Carrs is very interesting. This is from December 14th, 1965, and they were protesting the implication of using it as a front for large-scale professional gambling. He states that they have no specific facts upon which such an accusation was based, and so we are protesting it. Because everybody just loves to demand evidence. Like, all of a sudden, they think that the court of law is going to behave properly. Okay, yeah, that always sounds better in theory, doesn't it? Now let me find the boy, because when I saw him, I was like, I knew he was a spook. I knew it. So I won't deny that I wasn't mad that I was right. But still, it just validates it. So this was on my Twitter. If you've seen it, you've seen it. It is what it is. But uh, I I did feel okay. I wasn't feeling terrible about being right about this. So let's go ahead and take a peek. Yeah. All right. So right here. So the Administrative Management Society of Westchester. And this is the exact same year, right? So this Leslie R. Blasius. Yeah. So look at what this says. The entire time he was employed by New York Telephone Company Incorporated, or New York Telephone Company in New York City, sorry. But it says he was assigned to counterintelligence activities in New York City. He was also a member of the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Northern New Jersey and a lifelong membership in the Kane Lodge in New York. Yeah. Spooked up. I'm telling you, spooked up. You don't have to like it. I don't care. I don't like it either. Trust me. It would be much easier to get through all of this if this wasn't the case. For the people who think, because it's not just one person, it's not just the people, we'll say two people specifically, maybe three, if we're factoring in all wheat. But the individuals that think that like people drift towards the intelligence angle because it's like sexy, because I've heard people say that, like Mr. Augustine, like, oh, like the CIA stuff is just like sexy and they just can't deal with boring or old reality. This stuff is complicated and it's annoying. If you think that this type of stuff is perceived as like sexy or like, ooh, spycraft, provocateur, that's your problem. Because I don't think that way at all. I think that it's disgusting because it gives these people a cover to do whatever they want and to break the law. Now, let me show. I got to go back to the bottom of this thing. This PowerPoint is getting so long, but I'm also like trying to kind of be careful about what I'm showing specifically because Wheat won an award when she was getting out of high school. So obviously I had to look into it, right? And it does bear some very interesting fruit. She won an oratory, like a speaking award specifically. So obviously I decided to look into it because, well, those things really mattered back in the day. People need to keep in mind the context of the time specifically. So you're being put into the newspaper and you're being mentioned as being involved with the Knights of Columbus, which at least back then that was part of the Catholic League, okay? So whoops, the Vatican has entered the chat yet again, okay? It is what it is. Don't care if you like it, but let's go ahead and let's take a peek. Sorry, Wheat. Not my problem. Okay, so right here, February 23rd, 1968, Wheat Carr is winner of Oratory, daughter of Mrs. and Mr. Samuel Carr. She was the winner of the Columbiettes Auxiliary, Cardinal Hayes Council, Knights of Columbus, New York State Oratorical Contest. Yeah? And it says that she is now eligible for the higher level of competition of the New York State contest sponsored by the Knights of Columbus. And right here, I just thought that this was interesting. This is a little bit later on. So it looks like she was trying to get involved in some sort of lobbying specifically. I don't particularly care about politics. And then obviously, even though they were getting harassed by the press, she didn't mind taking that award. Yeah. And there she is with her father, who is a major sus lord as well. And here she is also receiving other awards. Yeah. And right here. So at this point, she had taken third place, and she was a student at the High School of Commerce and represented the Cardinal Hayes Council, Knights of Columbus of Yonkers. Okay. She did. It is what it is. Now, why is that relevant? Well, let's go ahead and let's take a peek at who was coming in specifically, because if you saw on that, it said that the speech that she won the award for was Are We Really One Nation Under God? I think was the name of it. I'm going to show you guys who stepped in and who set that up, because I think that this guy is also very interesting. Let me find him. Where did that dirty Daniel go? Give me 1 second. And I know I'm ignoring the chat, guys, but you guys obviously know that I have the attention span of a goldfish. So, yep, this is the one I want. All right. Because this dude's a sus lord too, straight up. It's not pretty as far as like the slide, whatever. It's not pretty, but at least you're going to be able to see who he is. Because in my opinion, on top of the stuff with Francis Carr, because that just straight up looks like some sort of like intelligence gathering operation with the answering service. Yeah, period. And it looks like old Wheat was getting picked from the get. But I'm going to show you who picked her. Okay, so we have Mr. Benjamin J. Comey. Yeah, so here he is. Nope. There we go. Okay, so there he is. Couldn't really find any great photos. He died pretty young. He died in 1970, which I think is interesting, but we will be coming back to that. But he was the Grand Knight of Water. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Watervliet Council, Knights of Columbus. But he was the chosen aide in the Knights of Columbus speech group. Isn't that fascinating? Yeah, that's him. And specifically, let me clean this up really quick, because I'm going to show you guys that this is a direct connection to her mother. Let me move this stupid newspaper clipping over. Hold on. Right here. Let me pop it back up. I've got to get a mouse, because this is the connection. This is it. You don't have to like it, but I'm proving it right now. Bada boom, bada bing, the Administrative Management Society. Yeah, he's a member. There you go. There you go. It's the exact same year. He dies 5 years later. But that dude is extremely suspicious. Okay? And he is. So what the hell is going on with the Carr family, and why are people running around saying that they are literally the heroes of the Son of Sam? I could give you my opinion. I don't think that it would be the best idea, because I don't think that people are really going to like it. Now, in regards to the person from the process that is named in that with the group therapy stuff, Blair Lawrence, we need to look at her and see who she is, because I need to remind people of who these people are, right? Because thank God we have already established these people's identities, so that these stupid little names stick out to me when I'm digging through these newspapers that people like to insinuate that I am wasting my time digging through. Now, we're going to look at her. We've looked at this in another episode, whatever, but let's go ahead and refresh memories of Blair Hava Lawrence, one of the healing sisters. Yeah, here you go. There she is, Gabrielle Lawrence. Healing. Huh. Lawrence is a psychotherapist working on a doctorate in counseling psychology at Columbia University. Okay, whatever you say. Remember, look at her before they got to her, man. It's a shame. Real shame. Anyways, so there she is, Sister Hava, Martha, Blair, Hava, Lawrence, because these people have 50 freaking names. And there they are, the Healing Sisters, yeah? The Healing Sisters. Except for they're not Healing Sisters, but that is her. Now, I'm going to show you guys where they're talking about necromancy because, again, you really want to sit there and like try to tell me that you're a serious person and that has absolutely no bearing on anything that was going on with Berkowitz? Because I'm telling you guys, I don't care. I don't care. You could have the freaking Pope and David Berkowitz and tie me down to a chair and hook up like car batteries to my nipples. I'm not going to believe you. I'm just not. I don't care. It's completely irrelevant to me. And it is irrelevant. And I know it's a little bit of an extreme example, but like seriously, this is how much I don't care and you can't convince me otherwise. Okay? So here we go. So Sharon St. Joan, she's on the left up there. I think this is where they were talking about, oh yeah, Jim Jones, a communist devil. Yeah, but then there's Hava Lawrence to the right. Okay? So, where are we? Yep, right here. So this is 1979 in the Cincinnati Post. We haven't raised anyone from the dead yet, but we think it's possible. Who said that? Mrs. Lawrence. Mrs. Lawrence. Blair Lawrence. Hava Lawrence. Yeah? Okay. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Because remember, they were doing this sort of, the Healing Sisters. We're the Jesus people. We already did the whole timeline in the last episode, guys. But as this stuff keeps coming up and I find these people's names in this time frame, we're going to come back to it. Because it's not irrelevant. And it's not. Because I'm going to show you guys one more thing specifically from my... Because the Son of Sam files, they're so big and I don't even like necessarily know what to do with them. There's some good pictures in there, which I'm super grateful for. And I'm super grateful for having them. But quite frankly, I don't give a damn about the Son of Sam letters. I don't care what he wrote. Unless he's going to like write something that would give me like $1 million and like cure my health. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna show you two more things. I'm sorry, I lied. I'm gonna show you two more things. Now, one of these things is from the Son of Sam files, and it was just a couple of these obscure old papers that he had folded up. And I said, well, who are these people? And when I looked into it, and I haven't watched any YouTube videos, I haven't listened to anybody else's research, and I'm not going to right now because I'm trying to follow my own instincts here the best that I can. However, whatever the hell happened to these people, this sounds like the process was involved. Straight up. And these people have literally disappeared and their crimes have not been solved. I could not find anything with an update that these crimes were solved. These people were drained of all the blood in their bodies. And one of them was the fashion designer for Cher. So these weren't just like these weird random people, not that they would deserve it, but I'm just saying. These were people who were known within certain circles. And I'm also going to show you because, this whole complete nonsense about the Carrs specifically being heroes. Well, let's go ahead and let's take a peek at, do they really look sad? There you go. Forbes split the Son of Sam Award. October 23rd, 1979. $2,500 to 3 recipients. Wheat Carr and Sam Carr, both of Yonkers. Yeah, they're having a real tough time, aren't they? So that's October 23rd on your left. To your right, October 7th, 1979. Son of Sam residue, a new violent death. Michael Carr, 27, pronounced dead of injuries after an accident on the West Side Highway. They said the car was speeding when it hit a lamp pole. He is the second member of his family to die since Berkowitz was arrested August 10th, 1977. Last year, John Carr, 31, Michael's brother, died at a motel in North Dakota, apparently of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Did he die in a motel? Because I thought that it said something else somewhere else. Seems like people can't really keep their stories straight, quite frankly. But hey, what do I know, right? I am just a stupid hillbilly in the woods. Quite frankly, it seems like this entire family had a lot to gain. Actually, I'm going to show you another thing because when the newspapers wrote this, I thought, chef's kiss, because it is a 1 to million shot. And it is a 1 to million shot. So you let me know if you'd like to operate within the reality that you leave these types of things up to chance. In a 1 to 1 shot, Yonkers police dispatcher Wheat Carr, Sam's daughter, who was later honored by the police for her action, happened to answer the call. Yeah? Okay. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. It's fine. You want to believe that, that's fine. Now, in the top right, where it says 1979 Slate case needed FBI, that was just a picture that I copied and pasted into my PowerPoint from the Son of Sam files, okay? It's obviously hard to read. He had some sort of like film over it for the reflection. I had a tough time reading it, but I did get their names. Now, right here. January 4th, 1980, 3 weeks ago, the discovery of 2 bodies dumped in West Patterson. They were from an artist community in the Fort Greene section of Brooklyn, Howard Green, 51, and Carol Marin, 35. Yeah? Now, over here, Marin was a freelance fashion designer who once designed a wardrobe for Cher and worked at the Pratt Institute, located near their DeKalb Avenue home. Green was a popular Fort Greene artist who supported himself by driving a taxi cab. Both had applied for passports weeks before their death, police said, and Marin had a record of arrests for possession of marijuana and theft in Chicago and Texas. Why do I think Chicago and Texas are interesting? Because the process was in Chicago and Texas, quite frankly. And for those that did not know, there was no blood at the scene. Why was there no blood at the scene? Because their bodies were literally drained of blood. And they were. All the blood had been drained from their bodies, and the victims had nearly identical bruises and stab wounds, and an investigation has been pointing to the possibility that the 2 were killed in a satanic rite. What's becoming stronger every day is the possibility of the occult being involved in some way, shape, or form. The couple who lived in a basement apartment in Brooklyn were once referred to as witches by a former neighbor. And right below this, because I do think that it is very relevant when we are looking at it from a PTK sort of perspective, John Wayne Gacy was also going on trial for what he did. Yeah? Because where was Mr. Gacy? And where was the process? Because I have shown you guys at a bare minimum where the process was solidified. So, we'll be coming back to Mr. Gacy eventually. However, I found this interesting thumbnail. I honestly don't know if it came from Pinterest, but these 2 photos, the separate ones of them on the bottom left here, those were in the files from The Ultimate Evil, but this photo of them as a couple on the right, I had never seen that, and I could not find anything on them. So I just wanted to share that because what happened to them was horrific. I have no idea who they are, and I could not find anything on them, like, at all. I had never even heard of it, and I think that it's completely insane to me. I don't really know what to say. Like, 2 people were literally drained of all the blood in their body. Okay, whatever, whatever, you know? I would say keep believing that one person did it and that that person has nothing to gain or nothing to lose by not changing the story, by not taking the fall. Seriously. 'Cause, I'm gonna look at the chat, and then I think we're gonna kind of end here because I know that I've been running for a really long time, but we had a lot to get through, and we did. But I would encourage people who, are listening to this completely, excuse my language, bullshit narrative by Mr. Nicholas Schreck, because it is bullshit. Just because your friends say that they didn't do it or that, X, Y, or Z was the motive. And man, there's just a lot of people really running around trashing Tom O'Neill's chaos and Program to Kill. And I know that it's easier to, run your mouth about someone that's dead because they can't defend themselves. However, I would highly encourage people, if that is the only narrative that you've heard or the only angle that you've heard, consider the source. Yeah, because that's Anton LaVey's former son-in-law. But I would also ask you to watch, and whatever, someone left a comment that, like, I was 10 minutes into the video and I hadn't gotten to the facts. Well, sorry, I involve my audience in my research. It's active research for a reason. But go watch my stuff about Sharon Tate. Seriously. Because, who was it? Oh, dang it. Krenwinkel. The last thing that we covered was Krenwinkel when she was up for parole. That it was a hit against two women in that house. I'm not saying that people weren't coming in there to also possibly take out Wojciech Frykowski or J.C. Bring for drugs or Abigail Folger. However, why are there so many reports stating otherwise about the late Robert Kennedy and Sharon Tate and Abigail Folger, who was also involved in his campaign? Yeah? Just because you were friends with Menser and Manson, I think that that says more about who you are than the credibility of those sources. I'm going to scroll up this far, and I'm not scrolling up any further. I'm going to read and then try to answer some questions, what I can see, and then I'm going to sign off, guys. I demand gluten-free names. Stop it, Tony. Let me see. Car de la Carriere. Ooh, Ramona, don't plant that seed in my head. Eric G, you should be giving your opinions. Well, maybe I'll give my opinion at the end. Yeah. How about like whatever, like a thumbs up or something if you want my opinion. Because I know some of y'all like it when I go on rants, but I don't want to do that. Let me see. I love Dana's sassy attitude. Thanks, Auntie Green. Necromancy with the big eyes. Yeah, kinky. Well, yeah, I guess to some if you're a necrophiliac. Adam Milanovic. Hello from Australia. Well, hello, Adam. Sorry, I'm usually more engaged with the chat, but I have to be up very, very early tomorrow. So, and that's why they put them in the papers. Let me see. And Cher has clammed up. I don't know, Ramona. That's a good question. Sneaky Pete. Thanks to Manny's research, we know Berkowitz had a driver with shooting of the Neto's dog. No, he did not die in a motel. He died at his girlfriend's house in base housing at the Minot Air Force Base. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think that he died in a hotel. That's why I put that in there because I'm like, why are they saying that he died in a hotel? Why is the story changing? Sorry. When I see, I mean, I did this with the process too, guys. Like when I saw conflicting dates, and I still do it. Conflicting dates, conflicting names, conflicting places. I'm putting it in here. Because are we chalking it up to a mistake? How many times do we have to see repeated behavior, repeated things being said because it looks like they're trying to seed a narrative? That's just my opinion. He doesn't research. Everything he presented was his team's work until they left. Yeah, well, I don't really know. Let me see. Such a small world. John Wayne Gacy had access to the White House. Yeah, John Wayne Gacy had access to a lot of things. Both homicide detective Chinati and Wheat Carr analyzed respectively that Mr. John Carr was murdered and possible suicide. I don't buy that he took his life at all. Sorry. The stuff with Michael and him, don't buy it. And I want to know what the hell happened to Francis's sister. Straight up. I want to know. I filed a FOIA request with NYPD regarding Howard Green and Carol Marin because an NYPD investigator was in charge of the case. Naturally, they claim to have no records. It's very interesting, Jonathan Mitchell. I read a later article that basically said that they all just kind of dropped the ball. Well, we thought that because it had crossed state lines, and so they said that they could have made it a federal case and got the FBI involved, right? But they didn't do that. And so New York's like, well, we thought that this county was taking, well, we thought you guys were taking, blah, 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 blah. And it's just excuses after excuses after excuses. I think that it was very bad timing with what was going on with Berkowitz specifically, especially if the process is there doing whatever the hell they're doing, because they are. Don't care if they change their name. I've shown you guys their names, including some names that some people haven't seen before, like their healing ministries, their clown ministries with children. Ooh, who else had a clown ministry? You could call it a ministry. But who else liked to dress up like clowns and be around children? Just some food for thought. Yeah? Draining the blood was a tactic used against the Viet Cong in the Phoenix program. Yeah, Soil Lodge. Well, they kind of mocked the whole idea of the Phoenix program today, which was really insulting. Gacy was an alderman. Nothing. Okay, let me see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up. Dana, I love it when you run for a long time. Thank you, Don Lambert. That's very sweet. D. Isacone, Shrek is a lying AF freak. Well, I mean, Shrek is literally the former son-in-law of Anton LaVey. Okay? The archives forever. I do not care. You know what it tells me? Here's where, I'll leave my opinions. Yeah? And this is... Wavy Gravy the Clown. That's very, very true. And Savile. See? You guys get it. You guys get it. Because Michelle's Healing Home had told me to look into Wavy Gravy. And I did. And I'm glad that she did. But because I didn't know who he was. And when I looked, I said, oh, God. Pennywise was nothing, right? But in regards to Shrek, all of this, I don't know the guy. I don't know, the other person either, and I'm not going to say his name because he does freak out. People say that he deals in facts, not emotions. That guy spends half of his time expressing his anger and hatred towards people that are dead that he feels have wronged him. And that he's going to make it everyone else's problem until they agree with him. So I would highly disagree that he deals in solely facts and not emotions. However, I am not going to value or respect the opinion of someone who calls an interview with Anton LaVey's former son-in-law groundbreaking, historical, truly historical, where he's sitting there saying that he's friends, acquaintance, whatever the hell you want to call it, with Bill Menser, whatever. I'm a hillbilly in the woods. Don't pronounce things right. I don't care. Friends with Manson. Talking about how the Satanic Panic wasn't real. Right? And that this was all just feeding into the Satanic Panic. I will continue to state that the narrative that the Satanic Panic was not real as a whole is a red flag and a fucking lie on its face. Period. Because again, I will ask, how many articles do we have to see and how many investigations do we have to see that the deaths of those animals were not of natural causes? And they weren't. Why is it that, as far as we know, two people, one who was a personal designer for Cher, yes, that Cher, the disco queen. I mean, that was like my favorite phase of hers, was the disco and like roller skates. That was such a vibe. But personal designer for Cher drained of all of their blood. Sounds a little satanic, right? And then this whole notion of pedophile rings and certain films being made or not being made. It seems like over the decades, there is a very specific sort of ilk of individuals who have a very bold confidence in saying that these things are not real and that it is conspiratorial thinking. And I would say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Bring your proof to the other side. Seriously. Bring your proof. Because eventually, guys, we're going to get into the Roy Cohn stuff because, you know, they're really audacious about this stuff with Roy Cohn. They want to deny or like actually pretend that maybe, or maybe they don't know about Epstein. Maybe they don't know about Epstein. I don't know. I can't pretend someone else's knowledge base. But you want to sit there and look people in the face and say that the idea of that isn't real or that it's like super crazy. I just showed you John Wayne Gacy in court being indicted for murder of boys rotting in that house when they discovered those two bodies. Cher's designer. Just as the whole satanic panic wasn't real, hasn't aged well up to this point, it is going to continue to not age well because this is a righteous anger, in my opinion. And it's something that I am not going to shut up about. This isn't about the drama. This is giving me major, major satanic panic sort of vibes. This is being put out here for a reason. Nicholas Shrek is being put out here and hailed as a fucking authority on something for a reason. If someone comes to me and says, I would like to expound upon as an authority of X, Y, and Z because I'm friends with Bill Menser and Charles Manson and, you know, the Satanic Panic, this book just fed into that and made it worse. I think that you are a huge red flag and you could be a dangerous person. And I think that people should really consider where they're getting their information. I'm not telling you what to believe or who to believe or what to think, but people who have that sort of perception and are willing to deny things that have factually happened, I think that that's dangerous. And that's just my opinion, guys. Obviously, we have a long way to go. I have much more to go through. I wanted to show you guys some of the background stuff regarding the Carr family because straight up, in my opinion, there is something wrong with the Carr family. I'm not calling anyone a criminal, but there's something wrong. And there is. I can see that from just looking at the newspapers. The newspapers themselves are telling me that something was wrong. And I will say my opinion, these people are not heroes and they are certainly not victims. These people were trying to profit off of this crap from the get. Okay? So that's your friend. You want to run around and do this campaign and call them heroes? Good luck. Good luck. Because I'm coming in and I'm saying, ooh, they got off Slick, and I wanna know why. And I do wanna know why. I also wanna know why, this family specifically didn't know that Michael Carr was in Los Angeles at such a crazy time with the Process Church of the Final Judgment with Charles Manson and with Heber Jensch. Yeah? Fascinating. Oh, what a tangled web we weave, guys. But I'm going to go ahead and run the exit. We are done for now, and I will see you guys very, very soon.